La tilapia es una especie tropical.
Tilapia is a tropical species that has rapid growth and high adaptability to different farming environments. Currently, its cultivation is expanding widely, mainly in some countries in Asia, South America, and Africa.
América del Sur y África. Y gracias a este crecimiento,
Thanks to this growth, various measures have been created that are being developed with new farming systems, where the efficient use of land and water can be presented.
de la tierra y el agua. Producción de
Tilapia production in the Biofloc system.
En el municipio de Girardota,
In the municipality of Girardota, located in the north of the city of Medellin in the department of Antioquia, we find a place where aquaculture or fish farming has been developed with a highly desired species, not only for its flavor, but also for its high efficiency when it comes to productivity.
allí el señor Helmer Bastidas
There, Mr. Helmar Bastidas told us his whole story and the difficulties they had to go through to produce tilapia to supply the markets of his municipality and keep this place in excellent condition.
Nos encontramos en la vereda.
We are in the village of Encenillo, in the municipality of Girardota, Antioquia. We are located at 1,890 meters above sea level.
Es una zona de clima templado frío.
It is an area with a temperate cold climate, which is why the area is not suitable for the production of red tilapia and leads us to the need to have production techniques
Unas técnicas de producción
that are consistent and that give us the conditions in terms of microclimate, quality and water temperatures to produce tilapia.
de agua para producir tilapia. La necesidad nace principalmente de que en Girardota
This was born due to a need since in Girardota we did not have a source of supply for red tilapia.
de allá nace la necesidad. Siempre va a salir la necesidad.
The need to satisfy customers and a municipality that does not produce this product will always arise. Given this need, we saw it as a market opportunity to produce red tilapia in an area where we are not producing and for information purposes.
Y a modo de información,
We are the only commercial scale producers in the metropolitan area if we take out the municipality of Barbosa.
de Barbosa. Aparte del tema del clima,
In addition to the climate factor for the production of tilapia, one of the drawbacks was the issue of soil, geography and topography of the soil.
de la geografía, el tema de la topografía del suelo. Entonces miramos la necesidad primero de adecuar el terreno.
We looked at the lack of adequate land. There are soils that are not suitable for tilapia production in terms of topography, structure and soil texture.
El tema de la contextura del suelo, porque son suelos muy porosos y son muy altamente rocosos.
Because they are very porous and highly rocky soils, which made it difficult to have ponds in this type of soil. That is why the need to have circular and elevated ponds arises.
gracias a su constante dedicación y
Thanks to their constant dedication and sacrifice, without being brought down due to these difficulties, they continued working to keep the business in optimal conditions.
Bueno, la empresa tiene una historia muy bonita. Iniciamos
The company has a very beautiful history. We started with the need, as I said initially, to produce tilapia in Girardota.
con un estanque pequeño, un estanque de 45 metros cúbicos.
We started with a small pond of 45 cubic meters, but we already came up with the idea of aerating, having the ponds under greenhouse cover, so that we can increase temperatures and that production periods improve.
Cuando ya usted va ampliando la producción,
When you're expanding production and needing more markets, we saw another opportunity, which is to set up more ponds, but making ponds more consistent and more space efficient.
eficientes en el tema espacio. Entonces, por eso llegamos a la necesidad de crear 6 estanques más.
That is why we came to the conclusion of creating 6 more ponds with the same dimension of circular ponds for the issue of aeration movement, circular ponds being more efficient than rectangular ponds, this due to the dead spaces. From there came the idea of raised ponds and circular ponds to improve production.
Elevados y estanques circulares para mejorar la producción. Hay que mencionar inicialmente es que en Girardota
It is important to mention that in Girardota the water quality is greatly affected by pollution. In reality, we are still in a metropolitan area, in a metropolis, in a relatively high populated area.
altamente pobladas. Es uno de los motivos. Y la otra es que
That is one of the reasons, and the other is that the characteristic climate here in Encenillo is suitable for trout production,
de trucha. Pero la trucha es una especie altamente.
but trout is a species that requires a high amount of water, so we opted for a production that requires less water and that supports new production systems with the Biofloc system.
Nuevos de producción, como el sistema que hacemos acá, que es el sistema Biofloc.
El término Biofloc
The term Biofloc is often misunderstood as a product that can be bought in a store or warehouse
que puede ser comprado en una tienda o almacén.
and poured into the water from the production tanks.
Sin embargo, no se trata de un producto.
However, it is not a product, but an aquaculture technology that will generate the production of 10 lobules, which will offer certain beneficial services to the productive process.
El sistema Biofloc en realidad es un sistema de producción de tilapia.
The Biofloc system is actually a system for the production of tilapia in medium and high densities, which involves working with microorganisms. A biofloc is basically made up of microorganisms with energy sources that control the quality of water.
Agua, un sistema tradicional, lo hacemos por dos razones. La primera es
When we add water to a traditional system, we do it for two reasons. The first is to add water with with saturated oxygen, and the other is to eliminate water sediments and excrement from the ponds so that there is no contamination.
lo que buscamos con el Biofloc es reemplazar.
What we are looking for with the biofloc is to replace this type of water inlet and manage it with bacteria. When you use this type of system, you need an aeration system to replace the oxygen that the new water will introduce, and with the issue of bacteria,
Vamos a trabajar lo que es el proceso de manejo de los sedimentos.
we're going to work on the sediment management process from some bacteria, process of a carbon source, and some reactions that occur in this system. We're going to control what the ammoniums are. We will also produce some proteins that the animals will consume, in this case the tilapia.
Tilapia, que es más
This helps us to lower the amount of concentrate consumption and lowers the production cost of each kilogram of tilapia that will be produced here.
Bueno, eso es un tema interesante porque últimamente en Colombia
It is an interesting topic because lately in Colombia it is booming, the issue of tilapia production in biofloc systems. Many times producers have to keep us grounded. Why?
hay muchas veces que a los productores nos tienen que pegar un poquito de aterrizada. ¿Por qué? Vamos a ser muy eficientes al tema de producción.
We are going to be very efficient in terms of production. For example, here there are 500 square meters under construction and we are producing more or less 400 to 500 kilos of tilapia a week due to space.
Pero es por el tema de espacio. Entonces, si vamos a producir esta cantidad en un sistema tradicional, necesitaríamos hectáreas de agua inundadas. Entonces,
Yes, we are going to produce this amount in a traditional system. We would need hectares of flooded water. The disadvantage of these systems is that some costs are going to be added. There is already the issue of energy, because they are systems that are totally dependent on energy. They are aerators that are 24/7 and can never stop.
además tiene que tener unos equipos para medición de parámetros.
They also have to have some equipment for measuring parameters and some equipment for replacement. For example, here we have two blowers. One is working and the other is an emergency, in case one is damaged.
Dos trabajando y uno está de emergencia, por si se daña uno de ellos.
We have 3 splashes all working and one is an emergency. We also have 2 power plants. When the power goes out, one plant works. They are working with the blower and the other plant with the 2 splashes.
En realidad, si nos vamos a comparar sistemas tradicionales a sistemas Biofloc,
Speaking of costs, in reality, if we are going to compare traditional systems with biofloc systems, we are more inefficient when we work with biofloc systems. But when we are going to work per unit area, the extradition process to the biofloc process are more efficient. We don't need as much land. We don't demand as much water. We are more responsible with the environment because we don't pollute. We don't dump water, and the little we do it in a very responsible way with the water treatment issue.
esta empresa inició con el sistema Biofloc en el 2016.
This company started with the Biofloc system in 2016. We're relatively new, but our Biofloc systems have already been standardized as such, with the amount we are working with, the issue of bacteria, carbon-nitrogen ratios, the amount of carbon source that are using molasses, we delayed until last year. We have already standardized the quality issue. We already know how the management is, that this is not like a Bible. We already know how the management is, that this is not like a Bible. In reality, you are learning every day. In reality, you are learning, and every day you are improving your doses, your amount of bacteria, its amount of molluscs. You learn that, and that will never have a stand to say, this is a recipe. Every day you learn as you gain experience in management.
Bueno, eso es aprendiendo desde la finca. Entonces,
This is learning from the farm. First we started the topic of maturing the water from certain amounts of bacteria,
de ciertas cantidades de bacterias, ciertas cantidades de fuentes de carbono de melaza y sembrar alevinos en este tipo de aguas maduradas. ¿Qué pasa?
carbon sources and molluscs, of planting fingerlings in this type of matured water. What happens? We, the suppliers of the fingerling seed, handle traditional systems that are water entering, water leaving, clean or green water. When the animals come to such a hard shock, the issue that you arrive to clean water, full of biofloc, bacteria, molluscs, and has some characteristic colours. With brown colours, the mortalities are reaching 40 to 50%. Those are the experiences that one learns.
Primero, sembrar, iniciar este tipo de siembras en aguas limpias.
First, start this type of planting in clean water, and as time goes by, we get used to the subject of biofloc, not abruptly but gradually, and the other issue refers to densities.
En Colombia la literatura dice que las
Here in Colombia, the literature says that biofloc is wonderful and that you can work 120 140 animals per cubic meter, and we start with that knowledge from zero because there was no experience. At the moment, and under the standardization, we are handling 70,
la densidad ideal donde no tenemos tanta mortalidad, donde no tenemos
which is the ideal density where we do not have so much mortality, where we do not have so many high feed conversion rates, and which is standardized with a balance of 70 animals per cubic meter, with a certain amount of bacteria and a certain amount of the carbon-nitrogen ratio to work with molluscs.
Para lograr las producciones deseadas,
To achieve the desired productions, it is important to have a good infrastructure, since the quantity of fish to be produced and the possibility of expanding the areas to work depend on it.
En este momento nuestra empresa tiene 9 estanques de producción.
At the moment, our company has 9 production ponds. We start with a small pond that measures 3 meters in diameter, followed by one of 3.5, 4, 5, 6. Of the latter, there are 2. There is one of 7, and there are 2 that are 9 in diameter.
Los primeros 7 estanques.
The first 7 ponds are working on the aeration systems with a blower that is through pipes with multifunction hoses and on grills.
Y ya la parte de levante engorde, la parte de engorde diría yo.
Now, as far as the rearing fattening part is concerned, the last 2 months we have been implementing the splash systems, which is an individual aerator to each pond. So we are working this way.
Trabajamos con animales que nos llegan de 1.5 gramos, 1 gramo.
We work with animals that weigh 1.5 grams and 1 gram. We take them up to 380, 400 grams depending on the market or the demand for it. We must take into account that we have started harvesting in 4.5 months, which allows us to remove animals at the head. From there, the medium and the tails come out, which come last, around every month. We are working a production cycle of 5.5 to 6.5 months. That is the average time we carry out the production of red tilapia here.
Sí, o sea, los estanques, como les decía, por el tipo de suelo en encenillos.
As I mentioned before, the ponds, due to the type of soil that these lands are made of, such as an encenijo, are not suitable for making holes in the ground. If you're on suitable soils, it can be the soil on land. You can line it with geomembrane or in cement and it remains working. In our case, we had to opt for elevated tanks. However, given the aeration, we must implement circular tanks that allow efficiency.
Circulares para el tema de eficiencia, sistemas eficientes para el tema de aireación. Son estanques que se formaron
They are tanks that we assemble ourselves. They are made from electro-welded mesh with galvanized tube reinforcements every 2 meters around the perimeter, and they have a 23-gauge 800 PVC geomembrane.
Básicamente esos son los estanques que están formados por ese material.
Basically, the tanks are made of this material, and the grills are made of PVC with polydiffuse southern line hose.
Como les digo, el clima es muy frío, el agua aquí del arroyo.
On the other hand, the weather is very cold. Here the stream that supplies us with water is at 14-15 degrees. Obviously this means that the tilapia does not progress under this temperature. There are tilapia that can spend 9, 10 or 12 months there and they will not grow. You have to give it the condition of the water. Besides that, we're not going to put clean water, new water. We only replace the water that evaporates, and greenhouses are created with greenhouse type covers that allow us to conserve heat and help us increase crop temperatures.
La cubierta invernadero se hace con el propósito, como les dije.
The greenhouse cover is made with the purpose of improving temperatures and maintaining heat.
Estanques, en el microclima dentro de los estanques.
In the microclimate inside the tanks, the greenhouse is worked with 7-gauge white plastic, a good quality gauge, where the wind will not break it.
El viento no lo vaya a romper. Y el clima, la sensación térmica adentro son la sensación térmica como tal.
And the thermal sensation is within a range of 38 to 39 degrees, while the water would be between 27 to 28 degrees Celsius, allowing the animals to feel in a good comfort zone. In this way, we will obviously achieve a good weight gain performance.
Como hemos visto,
As we have seen, this work has brought Mr. Helmer Bastidas great satisfaction. For this reason, they hope that in the not-too-distant future, this can contribute to improving food security in the municipality.
A futuro, nosotros lo que nos vemos, eso es un tema muy interesante. ¿Por qué?
It's a very interesting topic. Why? Due to the issue of space, our company can no longer set up more tanks. We no longer have anywhere to set up more.
Nuestro crecimiento va a ser en la mejora del sistema.
Our company can no longer set up more tanks. We no longer have anywhere to set up more. Our growth will be in improving the system, improving the aeration systems, better standardizing the issue of water quality, and not growing the number of tanks, but in density. We want to go from stocking 70 animals per cubic meter at this moment to reaching 120. So if the capacity that we have at the moment in fish farming as a mirror of water, so with this mirror of water and a density of 120 animals per cubic meter, the monthly goal is to produce 4 tons of red tilapia in the Hirardota municipality.
Claro, o sea, el tema es que esto tiene que primero priorizar el tema de seguridad alimentaria.
The goal is to prioritize food security, not only focus on the marketing part, but first on having the possibility to eat, to provide food to my municipality, and then I branch out. That is the focus. It is a very nice opportunity because it handles information. For example, what is fish? Tilapia, cachama, and trout are animals that are efficient when it comes to converting meat.
Convertir carne, entonces el índice de conversión alimenticia en este momento está más o menos.
The feed conversion ratio at the moment is more or less 1.2 to 1.3. What does that mean? That we use 1,300 grams of concentrate to convert 1,000 grams of meat. They are highly efficient animals compared to other animals. For example, chicken, at the moment is at 2.5 eats 2.5 kilos of concentrate to convert 1 kilogram of meat. Thus they are animals that are very efficient, that yield a lot, and that if they are managed well, of course they will be profitable.
a pesar de ser un sistema...
Despite being a system with many benefits, there are currently fish producers who are skeptical of new technologies and prefer to continue working in a traditional way, rather than give themselves the opportunity to discover and implement new models, which can help them be more efficient and improve their quality of life.
y a mejorar su calidad de vida.
Lo más importante en piscicultura en este momento.
The most important thing in fish farming at this time, as an experience with the company, is to be in order with legal matters. That is the main thing.
O sea, usted tener lo que sí es en su municipio, el PBOT.
Also, keep in mind that your company and property is in an area permitted by the municipality, in addition to carrying out responsible work in terms of water quality. We must make sure that we have sufficient permits for water concession and discharge. We must make sure that we have sufficient permits for water concession and discharges. Once this is done and we are fit, we must seek advice very well as making the appropriate projections, since it is not just setting up a tank, planting and cultivating and that's it. No, you have to receive due and adequate technical expertise. Many of the municipalities have technical support, and in those cases they don't. Many of the municipalities have technical support, and in those cases that they don't, they can also take courses at SENA, since this institution has very good courses. If any producer is interested in this, they must first seek advice on legal and technical matters, and of course, that desire is always present.
Piscicultura sí son como reacios al tema de nuevas tecnologías. Y más que en Colombia, pues estamos como...
People in fish farming are reluctant to implement new technologies, and especially that in Colombia. We are used to traditional production, believing that it is the only one that works. But no, there are many ways to produce. So that is my invitation to you, to produce cleanly, with new techniques. Those who are more efficient in space, do not limit yourself if you do not have a large piece of land. Do not see this as an impediment to grow, since there are new techniques. For example, this company has half a hectare of land, and in addition to the production company, there is another company. So that is the invitation. In 600 to 700 square meters, we are currently producing 2 ton. The goal in the projection is to produce 4 ton here. So space is not so important when using new production techniques, which are more efficient in terms of in your pocket and quality of productions. The goal and projection is to produce 4 ton here. So space is not so important when using new production techniques, which are more efficient in terms of in your pocket and quantity of productions.
Eficientes en cuanto al bolsillo y en cuanto a las producciones en cantidad. Lo que más me apasiona en este momento, el tema de piscicultura, producir pescado, esa es mi pasión.
What am I most passionate about at the moment? The subject of fish farming, producing fish. That is my passion. It's something that I have been carrying since university, since I started as a professional. It is a field that has many opportunities, a sector that we must work on and strengthen, and even more when we are in the metropolis, since this is still part of the metropolitan area.
Área metropolitana y ver la cantidad de que aquí no producimos, todo lo importamos.
Seeing the amount that we do not produce here, we import everything, and that we are not supplying a municipality like Hiradota, it is an opportunity. If we look at it as the governmental part, it is very bad.
Estamos mal. Pero si vamos como
But if we see it as entrepreneurial farmers, as I call it is a market opportunity, and an opportunity that we have to take advantage of at the moment.
La piscicultura es un modo de vida, que se vive de él.
Fish farming is a way of life. You live and depend on it. Every day you work for it. Every day one is with the family, with the workers here. Every day we strive to get ahead with our company and offer a good product, a clean product, a responsible product with the environment.
Un producto responsable con el medio ambiente, tenemos que ser muy responsables en el momento de 3 maneras, socialmente.
We have to be very responsible at the moment in 3 ways. Socially, environmentally, and economically, which is what one is also looking for. Environmentally, we use a very low amount of water resources. The few slopes that we have are done in a responsible way with oxidation lagoons. Socially, because we generate employment here for farming families, mothers who are heads of households, and economically because we are profitable. At the moment, actually, due to the issue of efficiency in the production part, per unit area that we are small, but we have an efficient way of production.